Putin jolts Zelensky's power seat with a heavy air attack. Ukraine capital Kyiv faces heavy fire. Explosions rock Ukraine capital city, unleash mayhem. Ukrainian capital Kyiv once again came under Russian attack overnight on February 5th. Kyiv Independent, citing local officials, reported that Russian forces launched a drone strike. Intermittent explosions were heard in Kyiv. At around 2 a.m. local time, the first explosion was heard. Another blast was heard again in the city at around 4:15 a.m. Kyiv City Military Administration head Timur Tikhenko said that Russia targeted various neighborhoods, including the Obolonskyi, Sviatoshynskyi, and Solomianskyi districts of Kyiv. In the Obolonskyi district, parked cars were caught on fire, while in the Solomianskyi district, one person sustained injuries. The full extent of the damage caused was not immediately clear. Russia's fresh onslaught comes 2 days after it launched its largest attack of 2026 on Ukraine. The Russian military launched 71 cruise and ballistic missiles, along with 450 drones, at various Ukrainian towns and cities, including the capital, Kyiv. The attack struck multiple residential buildings in the capital, injuring at least 9 people after a short pause in strikes on Kyiv at the request of the US President Donald Trump. The Russian attack also struck thermal power plants and combined heat and power facilities, supplying Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Dnipro. The latest attack on Kyiv comes as Russia, Ukraine, and the United States concluded the second round of trilateral talks in Abu Dhabi on February 4th. Another round of peace discussions is expected on February 5th. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the door to a peaceful settlement remains open, but Russia will continue the war until Ukraine adopts the relevant decisions. Peskov, however, did not specify the conditions.
There's no need to expect any announcements at this moment. We are not planning to make any specific statements or communications. The work itself will commence today as scheduled. Regarding the precise timing, the delegation members on site will determine the exact start time, depending on the overall readiness of all participating delegations. These will be 4-party negotiations, and it will also involve a dedicated working group focused on security matters. The doors for peaceful settlement are open. Russia maintains its openness. Our position is perfectly clear. It's well understood by Kyiv's regime and American negotiators who are offering good offices for these 4-party and until the Kyiv regime makes the appropriate decisions, the special military operation continues. Our military strikes those targets that represent the Kyiv regime's military potential, and the operation continues.
In his nightly video address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said both sides have agreed on another prisoner swap in the near future.
Our delegation reported after today's meeting. It was a trilateral format. The team also had contacts with the American side. Rustem Umerov, Kirilo Budanov, and David Arakamia reported. The guys were in touch. We discussed the interim results of the day's negotiations.
They will continue this tomorrow, and it will also be continued tomorrow.
This will also be a very important step. We are expecting a prisoner of war exchange in the very near future. We absolutely must bring our captured soldiers home. And overall, our Ukrainian position is extremely clear. The war must genuinely be brought to an end. Russia itself must be prepared for this. Our partners must also
At the dead of winter, at -20 degrees Celsius, Russia bombarded Ukraine with a record number of missiles and drones. And Ukrainians woke up in the middle of their sleep to the devastation. Russian missiles and drones hit several towns and cities of Ukraine, including Kyiv. The Russian military fired 450 drones and more than 70 ballistic and cruise missiles. Reports say 32 ballistic missiles targeted Ukraine's energy infrastructure and power plants. Russia's aim was clear. As hell was falling from the sky, Ukrainians on the ground were left to die in bone-chilling cold. Thermal power plants were hit, substations burned, transformers failed. The strikes were designed to leave civilians in the dark, without heat, light, or water during the coldest days of winter. Ukraine's private energy company, DTEK, called the attack the most powerful blow so far this year. The attack left more than 1,000 tower blocks in Kyiv without heating. State-run facilities were hit in Kyiv, Dnipro, and elsewhere, adding to serious damage caused by a series of previous targeted attacks. Residents spent the night sheltering in metro stations, with some pitching tents on the platforms to protect them from the freezing cold. Without heat, water pipes have frozen and burst, adding to the strain on daily life.
Tonight, such a horrible thing happened in my house. This is especially disturbing because an elderly woman, an 80-year-old, lives in this room. The strike happened at 12:45 a.m. The clock stopped, and I ran out of the bathroom. My ears were blocked by the blast. I couldn't hear anything. A child was in the corridor, and I ran into this room. You can see what happened here. Thank God the grandmother was lying on the other side of the bed and was not injured. Everything is fine now. She and her daughter are in a safe place, staying with friends. The cafeteria and the auditorium were the most damaged. The sports hall, which has many windows, was also hit, and many windows were broken. It is very sad because the cafeteria was renovated this year and was damaged in less than a month. But the most important thing is that no one was injured, even though many people were in the shelter.
I am not the only one like this in the country right now. All day long, there is no electricity, no way to cook food for the kids. Pretty much everyone is in this situation. Even when our building is sourced with heating, when I wake up in the morning, it is 10 or 12 degrees Celsius in the apartment, and I see ice on windowsills.
This is my third stroller. The previous two broke. They break quickly on the stairs when I carry my child and groceries. My husband is at war, so I have to do everything myself. I repeat this routine several times a day. We wake up with the child in the morning and go outside, because the child needs fresh air. We go outside, go to the store, buy groceries, and climb to the 6th floor, using the stairs. Then we go outside again for a walk and return home.
Russia's attack came just a day before the scheduled peace talks with Ukraine in Abu Dhabi. The attack also comes after a so-called energy truce, agreed by Donald Trump with Vladimir Putin, expired at the weekend. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia was choosing terror and escalation rather than diplomacy to end this war. He also suggested that Russia used the truce period to stock up on missiles and prepare for the attack. Ukraine is preparing for retaliation. Zelensky said Kyiv is waiting for the U.S.'s reaction.
We are waiting for the reaction of the United States of America to the Russian strikes. This was a proposal from America itself, to stop the strikes on the energy sector for the time of diplomacy and such cold winter weather. There was a request personally from the President of the United States. We see that Russia responded to this request with a ballistic record. Less than 4 days have passed since the week that Russia was asked for it. This also speaks to everything else that Russia promises or can still promise. If they don't keep their word now, then what can we expect next? They lied before this war, and Russia started a full-scale war, trying to deceive everyone around about its intentions and about Ukraine, and now even in such details, in such agreements with America, Russian deception again.
Meanwhile, Trump said Russian strikes did not amount to a breach of the commitment Putin made to him.
Mr. President, yesterday you were talking about how Vladimir Putin had agreed to a pause during the cold weather. Overnight, those attacks have started up again. Apparently, the worst.
It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up, and he hit him hard last night. No, he agreed. He kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further or go
Yeah,
longer?
I want him to end the war.
Russia had agreed to halt strikes on Kyiv for a week until February 1st because of the frigid temperatures, following a personal request from Trump to Putin. However, the biting cold is continuing, and so are Russia's aerial attacks.